Okay, so today we're going to continue with what expressions and statements. So in this week, you'll learn about iterative statements and the various types of iterative statements, then practice on using iterative statements. So known as loops, used to execute part of code repeatedly based on condition or set of conditions, used for performing repetitive or tasks efficiently. So there are mainly three types of iteration statements: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Okay. So for the while condition statement, you reduce do statement while, then for in statement condition expression statement, for declaration expression statement. So we have for statement. This is used to iterate over a range of values or elements in a collection. So that is a classical example of that syntax for statement. Then move on to for a for statement is also useful for expressing a loop without what an explicit termination condition. You terminate all three statements: initial statement, loop, condition statement, and what update statement. And that is an example. So for loop execution, the for loop execution as follows: the initial statement executes, the loop condition is evaluated. If the loop condition evaluates to true, execute the for loop statement. Execute the update statement, the third expression in the parentheses. Repeat step 2 until the loop condition evaluates to false. The initial statement usually initializes a variable called the for loop control or for indexed variable. Now, for loop statement. That is an example of the for loop statement. It's a classical line of code where you have the for and I equals 0, then closes, then I greater than what? I is less than 10, increase I. So C out I. Now move on to the while loop statement. While loops execute as long as what specifies conditions evaluate to true. A while statement executes its control statement until its condition becomes what false. So that's the syntax for the while expression statement. Statement can be simple or compound. Expression acts as what decision maker and is usually what a logical expression. Infinite loop continues to execute endlessly. Okay, can be avoided by including statement in the loop body that assure exit condition will eventually be what false. Now, a while statement is also useful for expressing a loop without an explicit or termination condition. This is the while statement, while loop statement. So this is also an example of the while loop statement. Now go to the do while statement. A do while statement is similar to a while statement except that the condition comes after the body, and this is the syntax of the do while statement. So the statement expression true then false. This is an example of a do while statement code. Now, exiting from loops. If the condition of an iteration statement A for while or do statement is omitted, the loop will not terminate unless what the user explicitly exits by break, return, go to, true, or some less obvious way, such as what call of exit. Now, break breaks out of the nearest enclosing switch statement or iteration statement. We use a break when we need to leave the loop body in the middle. Okay, so the break statement is used for two purposes: to exit early from a loop, to skip the remainder of the switch structure. This is the line of code you use on exiting loops. Then this is exiting from loops. Sometimes we don't want to exit the loop, okay, completely. We just want to get to the end of the loop body. A continuous keeps that rest of the body of an activation statement. Now also move on to when executed in the loop, it skips remaining statements and proceeds with the next activation of the loop. So this is how we exit a loop. This is a classical example of what exiting the loop. Now move on to nested loops. Loops are composition of loops. Okay, nested loops are composition of loops. This loop, this could include do while loop, for loop, and while loop. And this is an example. For int x is equal to 0, x is greater than 5, then increase what x. So for int y is equal to 0, y is less than 5, increase what y. That's the statement. This is an example of the nested control structures. Okay. Now we are going down to the practical aspect of the course. Now we are going to write a small basic line of code the for the loop statement. Okay, so let's say let's say 4 say 4 int I equals 10. Let's say for I equals 0. Okay, let's say 0. Okay, I is greater than, let's say, 6. Okay, then let's say we increase I. Okay, then open the bracket, then we see out, sorry, we see out what? I, then we end the line. So this is a basic example of for loop statements. Yes. Now move on to for loop indefinite. Okay, so let's say for, sorry, let's say see out and we break it. This is a for loop indefinite. So for loop infinite. Okay, so we move on to while loop basics. Right, so line of code for while loop basics. So let's say um let's say int I equals 0. Okay, while let's say I is greater than, sorry, let's say I is greater than, sorry, it's less than 5 in the bracket. So let's say see out in that line of statement, we increase what I. Then we run the code. This is for the while loop statement. So this is for the while statement. It presents what 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so go on the do while loop. Do while loop. Let's say int I equals 0. Okay. Do, let's say see out I. Line. Okay. Increase I. let's say while I is less than 5. Okay, we'll run our code. This is an example of a do while loop. What if you want to break in the loop? You can write this. Let's say int, let's say 4 for int I equals 0. I is less than 10. Okay, because I have an argument. Then we increase it I. So let's say if I equals 5, cout break at. Line, then break. Run a line of code. Okay, just tell us first. It's L expected for I. Sorry, it was not supposed to be there. I run the code. So there's a break at what 5. Okay. Then I'll move on to what nested loops. Nested loops. And a simple line of code. So let's say for int I equals, let's say 1. I is less than equal to 3. Okay. Then we increase the I bracket. You write here for int, let's say k equals 1. Okay, and let's say k is less than equal to I. Okay, increase what k. So let's say cout asterisk then this here what and line. Then run a line of code. So this is classical example of nested loops. This is the result. Thank you very much.